welcome to Ignite Your Power, the Kathy Mou Podcast. Today, I am so honored and excited to have a guest speaker, and her name is Simona. She is an author, speaker, and an empowerment coach since 1998. And she was born with intuition of lineage since the 1600s. So she is so intuitive. She is so amazing. And her energy is so high vibrational. So I am so excited to have her. And please introduce yourself, Simona.
Hello. Yeah, lovely how we met, right?
Yes.
That's just how my life is. So I just happened to have her pop up as being live on my Facebook. We've never spoke before. I didn't know that I signed up for anything with you. And I showed up in this room, and the speaker who was supposed to come, what happened?
She didn't show up. She, I guess, was caught up in another call. So she was late, like at least 40 minutes. And then you came on and helped me, talk about what were we talking
Here,
about? Hair
here,
loss.
here in menopause.
Yes.
Right.
You're
Yeah.
like, yeah, I help people with this. I was like, this is so beautiful. Okay, let's
Mhm.
hop on. And we started talking, and I loved all your holistic approaches. And you were talking about how you've done this your whole life, and your grandma and your lineage, like you said, has done holistic things throughout your life, which is amazing. If you want to share
Mhm.
some of that too with us, of like, I know in your book, I've been reading it, which is so good. It teaches you so much intuition. It teaches you like how to really ignite your power and tap into your power. Yes, guys, go get it. I have the Kindle copy actually because I have a little Kindle book, but you can
Yeah.
go on Amazon and get that book, Ramadan. Even though it's about Ramadan, but there's just so much powerful tools that we can all use on a daily basis, which is so beautiful. And I was just
Mhm.
talking to Simona about how there's one exercise. My mom's been doing it for years. I just didn't know where you like go like this and you just, yes, rub your ears. But my mom's been doing that. And I was like, okay. And that resonated with me. I've been doing it ever since I got the book, maybe like 2 weeks ago. It's
Mhm.
been so helpful. And I feel like my energy is better. I feel like I'm getting a little healthier slowly but surely. But like the holistic route is always, a slower process and healing, but it's so worth it at the end.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's only slow if you miss the reset at the beginning.
Yeah.
It's not slow if you can let go of your programming beforehand.
Mhm. That's so true.
And one of the programming is that it must be slow.
Yeah, that
I
is true.
experience very, very different in my life. Things are very quick.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That is so true. Okay, let's tap into your story a little bit of how you became an empowerment coach and what got you actually into stepping into your power of helping
Mm.
others through coaching and teaching people about spirituality, their gifts, following their intuition. I would love to hear this story and to have people hear it.
Mhm. Well, so I didn't really know anything about my lineage, not till not for a long, long time. But what was really interesting, I've shared a bedroom with my granny as a kid, and she noticed that I noticed. Like I can see the ones no one sees.
Mhm.
And I got scared because, like, if you see ghosties walking around and things like that, it's very unsettling. Um, Actually, when I was younger, I saw them and I thought everyone saw them.
Mm.
And then when I realized that people don't see them, I got really freaked out. So, and that's when my granny kind of like realized, oh, okay, she sees. And it's really interesting because she was really quite private about it. And I still don't really, I'm not too sure if it's like, if she was just in this lineage and like she's a very clever woman, herbalist, knows a lot of things about biological gardening and things like that. So she passed over, but she's just
Mm.
still with me. So she could tap into the knowledge that she needed to support me. Because there was a point in school, just imagine if you can hear what other people think,
Yeah, that's
right? And then you can also hear what the soul tries to say.
wow. That's a
And
lot.
then And then you hear what comes out of the mouth. It
Wow.
is, to say the least, overwhelming. It's quite ungrounding. So I don't think that it was easy for me to be a kid. I tried to overplay it. I didn't tell anyone about it. It wasn't a good thing at that time to
Yeah.
talk about. And talking about programming, in my programming was that it could be burned at a stake for this,
Oh my gosh.
right?
Oh.
So in my programming, I thought witch hunt,
Mm-hmm.
right? So keep it shut. And that keeping it shut had many, many different effects to my body. Because if you don't express what you need to express and you're not living your authenticity, it needs to go somewhere. And I basically blew a hole in my tummy, in my stomach, and I was really, really thin. Um, I was really quite see-through, and you could see. My mom always says when she gave me a bath, you could see the blue of the skin of the bone looking through. And she was so desperate to feed me all sorts of things, and I just I just didn't really eat so well, and I always had pain. I remember my childhood as like stabbing pain. And after no one really actually having heard me, I just overrode it and I just didn't eat very much. Um, so that was then sorted subsequently with an operation, and I turned out fine, as you
Yeah.
can see. But the journey didn't stop there. So there was one really specific thing. I grew up on a farm,
Mm-hmm.
a small farm, but where we would eat like our own pigs, our own chickens, our own cattle and things like that. It would be made sausages and things like that. So because I didn't really have too many friends that would understand me, or I had fairly superficial friendships, I was really connected to our animals.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It is, but not if they end up on Sunday for
Oh,
dinner
yes.
at the table. So all that is for someone that's highly empathetic, really traumatic, really
Mm.
traumatic, actually. And yeah, and then with teenage years, it's even worse when you hear all those voices because they get even more confusing. So it was really later on, probably with my first husband, um, who whose family kind of like were like spiritualists and things like
Mm.
that, and he was really fascinated about it, and asked questions. He was probably the first one beside my granny that asked me any questions about it or that knew about it. And he really valued my instinct. So he said to my mom once, it's like, I don't need to worry. I just need to do what Simona says. Everything will be fine.
Wow.
And it's just like my mom got like, oh my God, what a weirdo, right? So, and it was kind of like a really interesting relationship. But really, really exploring like, how does that resonate with you? Kind of a thing for any decision that we made, which was very empowering in a way because someone actually gave me the time to check in with myself
Mm-hmm.
if this is in resonance or not.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting because I've always meditated, but I didn't have a word for it. It's
Mm.
like this space where it's completely quiet. I don't do anything. There is no practice for it. That's why I couldn't really name it meditation because, like, I'm not doing anything. It's the opposite. I'm doing nothing, right? So I found that really confusing when I did like yoga teacher training and yoga, which I needed to keep me grounded, needed to keep the energies flow in my system. So it was really, I moved like yoga before I even knew what yoga was. And I did breath work before I even knew about breath work. So it's an intuitive, we all have it in us, a bit like Tai Chi. It's
Yeah.
just if you're sensitive enough, it feels like coming home doing these things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then, through my 20s, I did mainly the yoga, but intuitive yoga. So it's always a bit different. Always one to one, or like a lot, like I was trained one to one. I did 2 classes. My biggest class had 90 people in it
Wow, amazing.
on a Tuesday morning.
Question for you though. When you said intuitively doing yoga and breath work, what do you mean by intuitively? Like
Mhm,
you never saw someone practice it, right? But you just knew you had to like
mhm,
breathe a certain way or do like
mhm,
yoga moves a certain way. Like how
mhm.
did you get these intuitive callings to do these things? That's so cool.
I think when you are able to get into the void, the flow, the
Hmm.
space where you're free from conditioning, all these things can come through and you can just try them on like clothes. It's like, oh, that's it. That suits. All the ancient knowledge is in you.
Mm.
And it's not about, I'm not someone that puts me on a pedestal.
Yeah.
Use me so you can get into that state and you can try on everything that comes your way and see if it's a match for you. You don't need to go out there read anyone's minds. In fact, I wouldn't recommend it. It's busy work, right?
Yeah.
So what I do as an empowerment coach, which is, I think it's the only empowerment that's actually true empowerment, because I don't make you a dependent. I work with you for 1 month. That's it.
Wow.
1 month. And in that month, we have returned you back to you. So you can hear you and have like a sounding board with your soul's purpose or your higher self or whatever you call that.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean you do everything right, but you know where to go and where to find your answers when you wish to have them.
Wow, and it only takes 1 month to, like,
Yep,
have someone tap into their intuition and you
yep,
just help guide them through your
yep,
empowerment coaching. That
yep,
is so
yep,
powerful. Guys,
yep.
whoever listening, like, if you've been wanting to change your life, you should totally book a call with Simona because that sounds fantastic and amazing, and I, like, want to do that too. That sounds amazing.
Yeah. And it's just like, if you would do that before you do all the other mentoring, you would save yourself so much money,
True.
because mentors teach from their own experience.
Yeah.
I don't try to teach you my experience. I have no interest in it. It's not about me. It's about you when you come to me.
Yeah, it's
It has
literally
nothing to
it's
do with, like, you know,
yeah. It's
I
like
have no agenda. So,
beautiful. You're trying to
mhm,
help people ignite their power. So it's so amazing and beautiful. And that's why I totally feel like we're aligned to me and to have you be on my podcast because my podcast is Ignite Your Power. And this is exactly one of the avenues to really ignite your power and live the life that you're supposed to,
mhm,
really live. And tapping in intuition, I believe, is one of the most powerful tools that we're never taught. Like, I was not taught, like, oh, you have intuition, follow your intuition. No, I was taught literally to listen to my brain, my logical brain, that is the ego, all running
mhm,
all the time, and
mhm,
I'm just working at all these things in such a hard way. Like, I just wish I
yeah,
tapped into this intuition sooner. But now
mm,
you can teach people this. You teach them within 1 month. That's powerful and amazing.
mhm. So are you one of those people that would write a pro and con list?
Pretty much, yes. I wouldn't write the list. It would be in my
Yeah,
mind.
but
I'm like,
yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah. Well, that never works.
yes.
Not
Yeah.
for anyone.
Now
That's
I
how you
know that.
get that's how you get to please everyone around you, but not follow your purpose.
Yeah, and that's why when you ignite your power, though, honestly, it's igniting that intuition within you, your soul, the soul
Mhm,
being, to actually live your true purpose or to
mhm,
follow the right path that you're supposed to be.
mhm,
And when you do follow that path, it's just more easy, more beautiful. And then that's how the bliss off life is living, like I kind of talked to you about this, but for my
mhm,
listeners or new listeners who don't know what the bliss off life is, the bliss off life is living a life full of your own power, igniting that power, following your intuition, loving yourself fully, being like authentically you, not what society tells you to be, but just you, and you're just loving yourself so much. Your life is so blissful, it's so soft. And this is the life that I've been trying to manifest for myself and to
mhm,
do. 'Cause it's still a learning process for me. I'm not gonna be perfect. I'm telling you now because I grew up with whatever society has taught, me. Um, and so, like, relearning all these patterns, etcetera. But when you are aware and you help people be aware, which is so beautiful, and you get to live a bliss off life, and I believe this is one of my life purposes is to do that, which is beautiful, and I love it so much, and I get to connect with like-minded, amazing people like you. Um, you know, it's crazy because 'cause we've talked before, and the last time we talked, you were telling me a little bit of, like, intuitive things that you read about me in general, and I was just still so shocked, and it still resonates with me till this day when you said little things, and I think it's just so powerful to have someone confirm your thoughts or intuition. It just makes you feel better. It just makes you feel comforting, you know?
Mhm.
And I think that's why another way, if you listeners, whoever are listening, should know that that's why empowerment coach is so powerful because you have that confirmation, that coach to be
Mhm.
really there for you, you know?
Mhm.
And you are that. Like your presence is so calming. It's just so beautiful. And I just want more of like that calmness around me, you know? Like we all need
Mhm.
that. And you give that. So thank you for
And
that.
it's right inside of you, and you don't need to go working hard for it. That's the beauty. I think that's the most exciting thing is that it's much less effort than we might think it is. The reason why it's a month and the reason why I kind of like check in with you every day is because it's so easy to fall back into old programs, and I will make sure you're not. That's
Oh,
why it takes a month. So there's just one thing. So if you're someone with multiple traumas or childhood trauma, you would first need to go to my basic course because you can't go into empowerment and growth when you're still in survival mode. So we first get you out of survival mode. But I'm sure a lot of the people listening here, they've done so many courses. They're in a growth mindset and they wonder why they're still not where they want to be.
yeah.
And it's really interesting. You call it bliss and flow and everything is good. It's not because you make the choice, but you're the only one responsible for it. And it's actually life without resistance. There is no growth. So, but you
Mm,
fall in love with the highs and lows. It's like,
mm,
I wonder what lesson is in that. Now that's interesting. Instead of going, oh my God, and blaming the world, blaming yourself, there's no one to blame. When
yeah.
you live consciously, you just go, now that's interesting. Do you see the
Mm,
difference? It's
yeah.
not all honey and roses and chocolates.
Yes. Oh, that's a really good point. Thank you for pointing that out. It is true.
Mhm.
It is taking all of the hardships too and knowing that there's a life lesson and just being interested about like, oh, this is interesting. I wonder what the life lesson or what the lesson is. How exciting.
So
Like be excited
how
for
else
that.
how else do you want to learn if there's never anything to learn? If everything's just like no resistance flow?
That is so true.
We incarnated here for
Mm,
the fun of expansion
mm,
and to experience duality.
mm.
That is why we sign up for the earth plane, because it's very interesting with lots of sensations and emotions.
Yeah.
And when we learn to fall in love with that, life turns good
That's one of the key pieces is to fall in love with that.
with what you have.
Yeah.
Like with your husband. Remember our little talk?
Yes. Oh my gosh. No, after our conversation last time, because you gave me a tip about how my husband has been resisting and, kind of acting like a child that has not gotten any attention. And then right after the call, I went to just say, hey, I feel like I'm sorry for not giving you time. And I just hugged him. And like, we've been so good since that day. Like, we had less arguments. I feel like we're connecting. And I just am actually very, very more patient with him in a sense because I see like his inner child has been wounded by my actions. So I'm just coming it from like a more loving space and like just understanding. So it's been so good. I'm like, oh my gosh, like thank you, Simona, for just that little tidbit that I didn't
Mhm.
even realize because our perception is what creates a reality. And my
Mhm.
perception was like, he's just being ungrateful, he's just being a jerk, he doesn't care, like all this negativity, but you just
Yeah.
came from a very, very kind-hearted space and was like, what if he's just sad and upset that you're not giving him the time and space? And I'm like, oh,
And
okay.
then you said, no, he doesn't want to spend any time with me. And I went, yes, he does, because I can feel him in the space around you.
Oh my gosh. See, just like little answers like that really can change someone's life. Like
And yeah,
you
yeah,
literally changed my marriage because I've been struggling with it for a long time, but no one has told me a different perspective that I couldn't even see myself. So that's why it's so helpful to have you as a coach or someone in the outside telling you a different positive
mhm,
perception too. It's not like
mhm,
a negative because we're usually our biggest sabotage of whatever we're trying to do, right?
exactly. Imagine if you could just delete that, how life would be,
Yeah.
right? If you could be on your team, that would be really good, right?
Yeah.
Mm. So how hard was it to change it?
It was not hard, honestly.
So I do play. I play with you for a month. It's no hard, crueling work going through like childhood trauma. Even if we do the survival program, we don't go through stories. I just put your roots back in the ground where they belong. We look at your environment to make sure that it's safe because there's no point in growing you when we have someone nibbling you off the next minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we need to change a few things first.
Mm.
Um, and we need to check that you're in a good place to grow. And
Oh,
I will let and I will also let you know how you get into an easier place of growing without having to change your life. It's all within you. It's your environment that changes your environment.
oh my God.
So, but it does, we need to make sure you're in growth mode, like as in like your roots are in the ground and not up in the air. Have you ever felt like your roots were up in the air?
Yes, all the time. Yeah.
Exactly. So what we do in the first program, we make sure that you're the right way around because only that way can you have fulfilling sleep, a sex life, all these things that only come when you're not in survival.
Yeah. Oh, wow, that's so powerful. That's so true. We're taught to be in survival mode though, right? Like our society teaches us that we're always in
Yeah,
survival mode, which
yeah.
is
It's programming, can be removed.
yes, that's the programming. And we need to come out of that survival mode. And this is why most of us have so many health issues, like chronic
Mhm.
illness,
Like,
chronic fatigue. Yes. Oh my gosh. Like I can't.
always the amount of fibromyalgia client I've worked with that had no fibromyalgia after, it's ridiculous. Like, it's just tangled energy. I would always untangle energy first and then go with chemicals. I'm not against doctors. Doctors are great, hospitals are great, but I would first solve the energy behind it.
So everything is energy, correct? Like every type
Well,
of sickness, and if you're in energy sense, right? And if you do have some type of chronic illness or a type of illness, it's because your energy is low or you're lacking certain energy.
it's not as black and white. That's what people like to say, but if you actually
Yeah.
see it, you see it as quite complex. So there's so many different layers. There can be curses on you, there can be past life programs and all sorts of things. But I don't make it complicated because I can see it, right? You don't even need to know anything about it. That's my magic.
Wow.
And we just remove it.
That's amazing.
And I show you how to remove it. So it's not even me kind of like conjuring up some frog legs and things like that and do the spell. Woo hoo. It's like I have nothing to hide. I show you how to detect it, how to change it, and how to get into your power. That's it. You
Yeah.
can do this for the rest of your life forever afterwards.
Wow, amazing. That's so powerful. And for example, last time we spoke, you did do this with me unintentionally. You're like, ask for a card reading. And then you did. You because I do numerology guidance card readings. And you're like, okay, I'm just gonna get one. And then you saw the card and you're like, oh my gosh, Kathy, this is why I meant to like do a card reading. You told me that the card was not the right symbol. It was something that I had to do, get rid of. And then you gave me an exercise, a powerful exercise to actually relieve that out of my, vicinity or area or energy. So thank you for that. But I'm just telling
You're
people
welcome.
like you do that unintentionally already. And it was such a powerful tool. And I was like, whoa. that's amazing. Like your intuition is so, so powerful.
Well, I can't switch it off. I wish I could sometimes. Like, there's only one place in the world so far that I found where I can switch it off, and that's where we'll be in less than a month. So, oh, for 6 weeks. Ooh. Yeah. So, and I don't need to work there, which is beautiful. It's
I love
my little soul retreat in Croatia on an island. Beautiful.
I love
And it paid for itself. It was just one of those heaven sent manifestations just to keep me safe, sane, and paid for. You
yeah.
know, kind of like I do a lot of work with the earth threads and all sorts of things. It's not paid for. So and the universe has other ways of paying me back.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
I
I love
know, I know.
so see, that's so amazing how you just trust in the universe, you trust in your gifts, you trust in the divine and everything that happens, which is so beautiful. And a lot of us can't. Like me, I have a I have a lot of trust issues probably because I'm always wanting to be in control.
Mhm.
And so I'm sure most of us do, right? Like we can't just let go and let things surprise us and let the universe surprises us. But when you really actually do, that's when like beautiful things happen. Like with my daughter, I finally let go and I was like, I don't care anymore if I'm gonna be pregnant or not. And then that's when she came to me naturally,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. And I have so much success with like fertility. It's amazing. If
Love it.
there's a child, you can hear her or him and you can call them in. It's amazing. Really, really cool. Just what you said, because control stops flow.
Yes, yes. So if anybody really wants to start tapping into their intuition, start living the life that they truly want, I really want you guys to maybe even try, finding you, whatever, which I'll
Mhm,
ask you later on, but I really want you to get even a call with you just to like see how you would be able to help them because this to me, I intuitively feel like is life changing. Like even just having one little conversation with you changed my life for the better. And I gave you guys all the examples. Like I'm not hiding anything,
And
and
how long did we talk for? How long did we talk for?
I think it was like 20 minutes, right? Or 30
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah, it wasn't very long because I
Yeah.
didn't have much time, remember?
Yes,
So
yes.
all this happened in no time, and I offer a free 20-minute consultation. So,
Perfect.
so you can have that 20-minute call that I had with Kathy by booking in through my website. And my
Perfect.
website is called meltmystress.com.
Perfect.
Melt like melting chocolate or ice cream, mystress.com.
Oh, perfect. Okay, I will link all your, links below in the description when I do
Mhm.
post this up. But, like this was so so helpful and I just hope that people if you heard so far what we've been talking about, this is just the beginning of this and I would love for you to come back on so we can tap into more of like the spirituality and your gifts and how you can truly learn more about spirituality because a lot of my listeners are in the beginning just like me. I'm in the beginning stages of my
Mhm.
spirituality, finding my intuition. And I know you've been doing this ever since you were born, but some of us realize our gifts much later, so
Mhm.
it'd be
And
beautiful.
it's also one more thing to say, I'm not attached to any religion. So
Oh,
I was asked by Spirit to write a book on Ramadan to prove it to
yeah.
me, that I can speak to anyone of any faith and no faith
Mm,
about finding their own way.
beautiful.
Isn't that amazing? I thought that was beautiful. I was amazed writing 444 pages just like that and interviewing.
444? Is that
Yeah,
intentional 444?
no, and do you know at
Oh
4:44 in the morning, at 4:44 in the morning was when I pressed send to my publishers.
okay,
Yeah,
that is so synchronistic.
I know,
Love it.
I know. It's ridiculous. My whole life is like that. It's
Love it.
ridiculous. Mhm.
I love that so much. Like, just seeing how peaceful, how beautiful you live is just such a great example of how I
Mhm.
want to keep
Well,
going
think
in.
of it. Do you think it's peaceful and lovely to edit your book till 4 in the morning?
No.
4:45 in the morning. I didn't feel it was so peaceful. It was a really stressful time, but I did fill myself up and ground myself, stayed hydrated, and felt like peaceful. I don't think that would be the word that would have come, because I wanted to get it out before Ramadan. Obviously, it's a Ramadan book, right? And my publishers weren't very helpful. So I really needed to roll my sleeves up, put my big girl pants on, and just go, okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
Family pro, and I did my best job that I could do, but there's still some mistakes in there, and you would just have to forgive me. So
Yeah, and it's not about those mistakes. It's literally about the
no,
gifts that you received and is giving to us that we
yeah,
get to
and it's
enjoy.
just spelling mistakes. The content is solid, approved from above.
I love it so much. I read a
And
couple chapters and I'm already in love with it. So it's super
great.
fun.
And I had a 91-year-old Muslim woman who was a doctor and a herbalist. Okay, every page, every word for me.
Wow.
She loves it, loves it.
Aw, I'm so glad. It is such a good book, guys. And again, I will put that link if you want to get it
Mhm.
in the description below. But
Great.
if you have any last things before we end that you want to share with everybody, and then let us know further where we can find you on socials as well before we end our episode.
Well, the message would be start with you rather than start with trying to find a mentor or something like that, or a program or something that will fix you or enhance your life. Start with getting you into neutral, and I'm honored to help you with that. Because everything else will be clear, because the right mentor will resonate with you. And even the right mentor, everything they say doesn't resonate with you. Some things will resonate with you, but the community, maybe the community group, there's like someone really important for you to meet, or it's like your next step in it's your next puzzle piece that you need to pick up. So, but knowing that saves you so much money, more than I will charge you, over a lifetime.
Wow, thank you so much. And last but not least, where can people find
Well,
you on socials?
just put my name, Simone Moir, into Google. I'm everywhere. You will
Love
just
it.
find me. So, or melt my stress or anything, but we will put the links below as well. I'm
Yeah,
very easy to find. I've been around for a long time. There's hundreds of testimonials
love
about
it.
me out there.
Yay. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for today and sharing your knowledge and just giving us hope and knowing that we can tap into our power. So thank you for all that you do, and your gifts are just so amazing. So thank you so much.